Is this going to take long? No, come on, stop this.
What? It's emotionally affecting like the Dead Island trailer.
You can't just reverse something and add piano music and think it will be emotionally effective.
Oh yeah?
You're right. That was incredible.
Right, I'll get us started. You just take a minute to compose yourself there, right?
My emotions.
Right, well, speaking of Dead Island, We Ate Four People is looking for some more details on the game.
Why should we help him out? He's obviously a zombie. Look, he's admitted to his crimes in his gamer tag.
Well, maybe it's ironic. We should help him out anyway, come on. So we caught up with the game's producer recently in the exotic climes of a basement in East London to get some actual details on what kind of game Dead Island is.
Zombie slasher action RPG, as you have seen in the presentation, would be the best genre to match this kind of game, because there are a lot of elements we took from different games, and with this focus on close combat, I feel like we created something new.
It's due out later this year, which should give you plenty of time to pull yourself together again, emotionally. Unlike several hundred of our other viewers, Tom Copeland doesn't care about new Resident Evil games because he'd rather bask in former glories. Glories. Gorely glories.
Well, Tom, it appears that Capcom shares that sentiment too, because it recently announced that it's bringing Resident Evil 4 and Code Veronica to Xbox Live this autumn.
Both games will be, in Capcom's words, remastered in HD. The first screens indicate that this amounts to little more than upscale textures rather than a complete visual overhaul, and no mention has been made of Live or Kinect compatibility. Achievements are a given though, which is excuse enough to play through Resi 4 again for the umpteenth time.
Resident Evil 4, as if you needed reminding, is possibly the greatest game of the last generation of consoles and certainly one of the best games ever. It completely revitalised, reinvented and redefined survival horror, and its influence can still be felt to this day in the likes of Dead Space and even Gears of War.
Code Veronica, on the other hand, was the last of the traditional Resi games, albeit the first one to use 3D environments, and stars Resi 2's Claire Redfield alongside irritating Leonardo DiCaprio wannabe Steve Burnside and shrieking cross-dressing villain Alfred Ashford.
Capcom hasn't bothered with fripperies such as a specific release date or pricing yet, but we're expecting to hear more from its annual Captivate event in Miami next month. In unrelated news, I'm going to Miami next month.
You doing what?
Oh look, another question.
Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered weak and weary over many a quaint and curious volume of SentUAMessage questions, something nevermore.
Beautiful.
Thanks.
Anyway, Nevermore here wants to know what Double Fine is up to now he's fully completed stacking.
Well, prepare for that 100% stat to drop soon, Nevermore, as there's an add-on for stacking on the way that will extend Charlie Blackmore's adorable nesting doll adventures. Called The Lost Hobo King, it gives you a new environment to explore, a bunch of new dolls to leap inside, and, of course, new achievements.
It's set in the lost hobo kingdom of Camelfoot, where Charlie travels to help his hobo friend Levi. Levi's uncle, it seems, is the rightful heir to the hobo throne, but has lost the crown, which he needs if he is to be recognised as the head of the hobo state.
Stop saying hobo. Anyway, Charlie must help Levi's uncle take his rightful place on the throne by overcoming tests of courage set by transient mystics to collect the pieces of the fragmented crown and unite the bum community.
That just sounds weird. Anyway, that's due out in April. Next up, Double Fine has also announced its next game, Trenched, a hybrid tower defense third-person shooter game set in an alternative reality, post-World War I society where a new war has broken out between television-based robots and mech-style mobile trench units.
So Trenched plays like a tower defense game, with you facing down waves of enemies, trying to avoid being overrun. But it puts you into the heart of the action, giving you a specific area that needs to be protected. As you play, downed enemies drop resources that you can use to upgrade your weapons and emplacements, and you can customise your Marine characters' outfits. Double Fine studio head Tim Schafer likens the experience to having a war Barbie.
There'll also be 4-player co-op play for you and your friends' war Barbies to get stuck into. Trenched hasn't got a release date yet, but we hope to bring you more on it on Inside Xbox soon.
Dalmascus is fed up of being confused with a popular type of sword-making steel and wants to make a name for himself as the guy who asked a question about Ubisoft's From Dust.
Well, we're here to make dreams come true, Dal. From Dust is coming to Xbox Live Arcade later this year and is looking spectacular. I had the pleasure of meeting creative director Eric Chahi recently, and once I'd stopped gushing about Another World, he filled me in on his inventive take on the God game genre.
It's a kind of God game where the nature is at the center of the gameplay. You really interact with the nature. The player will have to help a tribe to survive in this fast-moving world, and he will have to help them to quest and to find back their culture, their memory, and their power to master this nature.
Now, this is a game you really have to see in action. The ability to carry and release massive spheres of earth, water and lava to shape the landscape and protect your tribe is not just an original and satisfying way to play, but visually marvellous too. Best of all, once you've completed a level, you can then opt to spend your time messing around with the environment, much like a child making sandcastles on the beach, only the child is an incredibly powerful invisible entity, and the sandcastles are 30-metre high piles of earth.
Right, look out for our full interview with Eric on Inside Xbox soon. The Duke of Nuke chose his gamertag a while ago, but is worried that people won't realise how clever it is until they see it contextually within a Duke Nukem game.
Come get some.
Come get some what?
No, it's a catchphrase.
Oh. Yeah, so he wants to know more about the multiplayer of Duke.
Hail to the king, baby. It's another catchphrase, it's cool. He says the things you're thinking.
Yeah, if you're thinking the script to the film Army of Darkness.
Yeah, I usually am though.
Oh, well, in that case, it's fair enough. So yes, the multiplayer modes of Duke Nukem Forever have now been detailed with 4 flavours to choose from. There's Deathmatch, known here as Duke Match due to Duke's enormous ego. There's Team Duke Match, a King of the Hill mode called Hail to the King, and this can't be right. It says Capture the Babe mode, where you have to grab women and calm them down by giving them a slap on the behind.
Maybe it's a misprint.
Yeah, let's hope.
So it supports 8 players, and there'll be 10 maps, including Duke Burger, a Honey I Shrunk the Kids type level where all the Dukes are tiny and run around a giant world, a Wild West town, and a Las Vegas casino. The jetpack from Duke 3D makes a reappearance in multiplayer as well, although it will only show up on certain levels.
You can expect more classic power-ups from Duke 3D too, like the Hollow Duke, which projects a fake Duke like the bit at the end of Total Recall, but which now cloaks you as well, letting you perform stealth kills, and the steroids, which make you run faster and perform one-hit melee kills, just like that guy did in the Olympics. You'll also gain XP as you play, which will let you customize your Duke.
Despite guarantees from Gearbox that the now 14 years in development game would definitely hit in May, it's now hilariously slipped again to 14th of June. However, anyone who's picked up the Borderlands Game of the Year edition will be able to check out a demo before then. Now, another game it feels like we in Cro-Magnon have been waiting forever for.
Oh yeah, see what you did there.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, good, wasn't it? It's Fear 3. Well, good news, fans of unsettling horror and stupid names. Fear 3 is out in Europe on the 27th of May.
In it, you play the characters of Point Man and Paxton Fettel.
Wait, those are still the names? I thought they were placeholders or something until they came up with proper names for the characters.
No, Point Man and Paxton Fettel. Anyway, you play as them as the supernatural powers of their mother, Alma Wade, grow even stronger, threatening to tear the planet apart in divergent co-op first-person shooting action.
Here's the latest cinematic release for the game in which Point Man's ghostly brother Paxton has a go at him on a plane.
So, tell me, what does it feel like to kill your own brother? Can't say I enjoyed it very much.
Hey, Fettel, don't you know it's illegal to smoke on planes?
Oh, dreadful.
Yeah, it was. Sorry.
G. Smith 007 may now be MI6's most charismatic, charming, and borderline psychopathic secret agent after James Bond died in that accidental house fire. But man, he needs to get his facts straight. He claims that the original Prey was released on Xbox 360 in 2003, which is quite the feat considering the console wasn't even available, let alone the game. But we'll let him off because he's getting worked up about Prey 2, and we don't want anyone else to suffer like G did.
Prey, aka the other 3D Realms game that took more than a decade to escape from development hell, was largely ahead of its time, that time being 2006 G, featuring Portal technology that predated Portal, special walkways that allow you to engage in gravity-defying gun battles, and the ability to solve puzzles via astral projection. The game ended with a Smith-like claim that Prey will continue.
After 3D Realms collapsed in 2009, ZeniMax Media, owners of Bethesda and id, acquired the rights to the series and put Human Head, who ultimately completed development on the original Prey and had already been working on the sequel for a year, in charge of the project.
If that last bit was just white noise to you, here's the short version. Prey 2's on the way!
Hooray! Swedish magazine Game Reactor was one of the first mags to score an early look at the game, and it sounds pretty ambitious to say the least. The story appears to take place in parallel with the first game, with you entering the headspace of Killian Samuels, a sheriff who's whisked off to a distant planet and finds gainful employment as a bounty hunter.
Although the action remains in the first person, it's now a sprawling, mission-based open-world adventure and is being compared to a number of big-name titles, including Mass Effect, Red Dead Redemption, Borderlands, Assassin's Creed, and even Mirror's Edge. The latter game has been cited in relation to Killian's movement around the alien environment, with our hero using parkour-style moves to leap around the place like a man-cat.
Human Head has confirmed that Prey 2 will contain no multiplayer and no Kinect compatibility and won't release until sometime in everyone's favourite Mayan calendar year, 2012. Hopefully before all that bad stuff goes down.
Let's hope. And that's it for another show. But remember, your questions are the assassin recruits our show sends to Tripoli to assault beggars, so keep them coming into the gamertag Sent You a Message.
Electronically mail them to sentyouamessage@hotmail.com.
Don't fear the tweeter at twitter.com/sentyouamessage.
Or unwillingly form part of our forward-looking social media strategy at facebook.com/sentyouamessage.
Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Should we play the whole show backwards now? Think how emotional that'd be.
Yeah, anger is an emotion, yeah.